Hello everyone, this is Cindy, and I'm going to attempt to do another group of tags. Let's just start with number 12. This one, I don't know what you would call it. I'm not sure if it has an official name or not, but basically it's just a piece of scrapbook paper that's kind of folded up, sort of like an envelope. So this could definitely be the end cuts that you have left over. So I was hoping there would be an easy way to just fold these and not have to use the scoreboard, but I couldn't figure one out, so we're going to use a scoreboard. And I'll show you real quick. I have two different ways to close them. One is just with a paper clip, and then one is with just a little something glued onto the front of the tag or journaling card, and you just slip the front of the top of it behind it. I just cut this circles out of a bunch of book pages and glued them together to make them kind of thick, but you can use scraps of cardstock or just whatever sort of embellishment you might have to close it. Okay, the one I have is I think it's 3 inches by 12. I know it's 12. It could be 2.5, but it's 3. We'll say 3 inches. And here's my scoreboard. And I don't know if I'm the only lucky one, but my scoreboard warped. So I'm not sure if I did something wrong or what happened. But anyway, I have to deal with it. And I marked where the scores, I might have a note to myself where the scores should be, just to get it to look like mine. Of course, yours could be different. And the first score I have is at 1.5. So we scored at 1.5. The next one is at 5. And of course, if you don't get it quite right, you can kind of fuss with it a little bit when you're folding it. And then 8.5. So 1.5, 5, and 8.5. And hopefully when you fold it up, that'll be close enough. And like I said, you can fuss with it a little bit. Like mine doesn't look real straight there on that one fold, so. But it's just a way to use up some of your scrapbook paper and have a little useful little thing to tuck into your pocket. And then, of course, you can clip off the corners of the front of it. And there you go. Of course, I would, ink it up and then come up with some sort of closure. But that's the basic idea. 12-inch long, whatever width you want, scored at 1.5, 5, and 8.5. All right, so that's number 12. Number 13 also uses a scoreboard. This is a matchbook. And it's made out of scraps of paper, scraps of cardstock, scraps of scrapbooking paper, scraps of coffee dyed paper, whatever. So I have basically 2 ways to make it. One, we're going to call it the fussy way. So I wrote down the scores on this one too. Let's see. I guess I should tell you. It's 2.5 wide by 6.5 long. That's mine. Of course, yours can be whatever size you need. Or just whatever size your scraps are. So we're going to score at 3/4 and 3 3/4. And then I have again scoring at 3 7/8, which is just another 7/8 up. You could do it a 1/4 of an inch up if you wanted a thicker booklet, but 1/8 of an inch will do pretty well. And I'm not sure you can see that or not, but there's the 3/4, 3 3/4, and 3 7/8, and we'll see if I get it right. So we fold that one, and those 2 scores there are just to give you a little bit of a fold so that it will accommodate the thickness of your papers. And that, the width of that fold depends on how many papers you have in there. So basically, you just put the papers in there, and I decal cut mine at the top just to give them a little rough edge there. And then you staple it. You can put 2 staples in or 1, And you should come back a little ways from the edge there so you have room to tuck your matchbook in. If you can see there, I stapled too close to the end, so mine's a little off. But that really takes us to the next way to make them, which is the way I would probably make them if I was making a bunch, is to just eyeball it. I would just say, all right, I want to fold it up that much, and I know I need to put my papers in, and these I didn't decal cut. And then I'm going to try to remember this time to staple a little further back. And my cardstock was cut the same size, 2.5 by 6.5. And then I would fit it in there, and then I would just kind of fold it down. And if the thickness of your paper if it needs to be a little thicker, then it pretty much will, when you're folding this over, it will make up for that. So, of course, it doesn't have quite the same matchbook look if you don't have that little end like that, but it just depends on what you want. So anyway, that's a couple of ways to make the matchbook things, and of course you could decorate them up however you want. So anyway, that's number 13. And all of these ideas I'm showing you, of course, there's better demonstrations on the internet, on YouTube. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what's out there, what you can do, and you can go research it some more all you want. All right, number 14. Let's see what it is. Okay. This one is a tag that has pockets. And I had a real good picture somewhere, but I don't know what I did with it. When I find it, I will show it to you. Because I got this idea from somewhere. Probably that Papercraft magazines, which I mentioned before. So, pretty neat. So what you have to do is just start out with a piece of cardstock or scrapbooking paper. And I don't know that I wrote the dimensions down on this. Yes, I did. Okay, so this one is, let me double check, 3 inches by 3 by 6. And then you need another sheet that's going to go over that. That's like 2.5 wide by, I think, let's see, 5.5. So it's just a little bit, it's like 1/2 inch smaller on each side. So that gives you a pretty good border. And then you need another sheet that's the 2.5 inch by, let's see, 4.5. And then I have 2.5 by about 2.5 square. Let's go over that again. 3 by 6, come down 1/2 inch either way, 5.5, 2.5. Another one is 2.5 by like 4.5. These can fudge a little bit. And then a 2.5 by 2.5 square. And the reason you have some leeway on this is because you're going to be cutting them off. I would set this piece aside, work on this first. Get your decal scissors, any decorative scissors you have, or just plain scissors. And you're going to match this one up at the bottom. But then you're going to cut across diagonally. So just take a little corner off. And then that's going to get glued down, and you got to make sure to glue it as a pocket. And then this one is going to go the opposite way. So it's going to be glued down like that. So let's just do that real quick. And this is where you got to remember, it's a pocket. So don't glue that top edge. And keeping everything 2.5 just helps you line it up at the bottom and on the sides. And then once you get those two glued on, you're going to glue the whole thing on here. Now this one, I did not cut the corners off of the tag like I did on this one, but I could have. It just depends on what you want. You can round it, you can do whatever you want. This one, I'm going to glue the whole thing down. It's not going to be a pocket. And this is a good way to use up some of the thinner scrapbooking paper that's really kind of flimsy. doesn't make great pockets. Uses up scraps paper, book page to give you a little bit of a design, and you can use scrap papers to be your tags. So anyway, that's just a tag pocket, and there's different varieties out there. Like I said, I'm not sure if I got the idea from a magazine or Pinterest or wherever, but there's plenty out there to go research and find. And I forgot to mention on the book page, I folded it over. And that way it made it stronger, and then it didn't give me a finished edge because I cut it off, but it gave me two pieces there to kind of make it a little stronger, and I glued it together. So I folded it in half, glued those together just to make it stronger. Okay, that's number 14. And number 15, let's see what it is. Like I said, I'm putting them in these envelopes just to kind of keep myself organized. Okay. Here's the sample. It's a tag that's covered with some book page, and it's just got a scrap of scrapbooking paper on it. So this one, there's my basic tag base. I'm going to glue this book page on top of it. And I cut these with, let's see, this punch that I got at Hobby Lobby, and you pick the size of the tag you want, and then it punches the different rounded tops. And it could be any length, so that's why my book page here is a little bit longer than the tag, but that doesn't matter because I'll just trim it off. And I already inked around here just to save some time. So I'm just going to cut that bottom off and scoot that over a little bit. Ink that real quick on the bottom. And then here's the scrapbook paper I'm going to use. I'm just going to rip some. You know, if you don't like the shape of it, then go back and tear another piece. And you probably should ink it up real quick. This is real thin scrapbooking paper, and it's hard to hold on to. So just going to glue it down. And then I'll trim this off. And of course, if you want to add some other sort of embellishment, have at it. Do you notice I'm using the same sort of embellishment thing every time? It's just I didn't want to take the time to do that on every single tag we made, so I just made one up. We're just going to see it a lot. So anyway, and then of course you can put your threads or ribbons in the tassel. So that is 4 more, and I think we'll stop there since we're getting close to the time limit that's pretty good for me to upload videos. So let's recap. We had the book page tag with scraps of scrapbook paper put on them. We had the pocket tag just made out of cardstock and scraps of scrapbooking paper and scraps of book page. We had the matchbook, which we made with the scoreboard, and we made it with just folding it over, and it's also made out of just scraps of cardstock and leftover copy dyed paper. And then we had these little fold out journaling, I'm not sure, booklets, cards, whatever, I'm not sure what they should be called, envelopes I guess. And you can either close it with a paper clip or a little medallion of some sort that of course you could decorate however you want. So let's put these, let's see if we can find a place for them in our book real quick. I need to make a large tag to go in these 2 pockets here. This is a flip out which has a place we can put a tag in. We'll just put that in there. And I don't know if you can see this or not. Here's a pocket that needs something. We'll put the journaling card in there. I mean the journaling card with pockets. And let's see. I need this one and this one. This one might go right there. I need to add a tassel, but it'll go behind that. And let's find a place for this matchbook. I'm not sure what kind of, it's kind of short. Oh, right there. Perfect place for it. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you later. Bye.